Hey everyone, welcome to a brand new Hangout. Hope everyone's doing well. It's a rainy Monday here where I live, which is kind of blasé, but we're getting through it. It's that time of year. November's kind of always, to me, kind of a dreary month. Weather's changing. We haven't had any flurries here yet, but I heard that my friends in Quebec and Ontario did get some flurries, so hope everyone's cozy and safe. And I think we're going to get maybe some flurries at some point in the forecast this week, but that remains to be seen. Temperatures do drop tomorrow for us in Nova Scotia. So I don't know how long this video will be. I picked up one thing physical media wise, and I only listened to a couple of albums. So fear not though. I do have a couple of sort of side stories, and I'm also going to be talking later in the video about new release Blu-rays coming out this week. So if you like that stuff, be sure to stick around. Tomorrow is Remembrance Day. I forgot to put my poppy on, but tomorrow's Remembrance Day. Tomorrow's also generally Tuesdays are new release day for DVDs and Blu-rays and 4Ks. So I don't know. I assume they're putting out the new releases maybe on Wednesday the 12th, but I will go over the things that are slated for tomorrow. And then if you are curious, you can check out your local shops. Everybody got their warm beverage or their cold beverage. President's Choice Canadian blend with a bit of Earth's Own almond milk, slightly warm, slightly dead, which has been reheated like 3 times because I've been puttering around, cleaning up, getting my video ready, all that jazz. But anyway, yeah, there's some things I'd like to talk about and say, but just recently had some kind of negativity in my life, and it's unfortunate. Some sort of, I don't want to say attacks, but just some nonsense. And so this is just a general reminder to be nice to people. And, you know, when you go out in the world, try to remember that sometimes people are going through things that you may not understand, and that may be reflected in their behavior or their general kind of demeanor. And attacking people is not nice. So just try to be nice to each other out there, okay, guys? It's, you know, I know I've commented on this before, and I feel like people, since the pandemic, I think people have gotten quite nasty, but it's also the beginning of the holiday season for some of these people, and to celebrate their holiday. And so, you know, just bear that in mind when you're out and about. I can already see what would you call it? The inklings of the holiday behavior beginning. So to all my friends out there who work in retail, or to even if I don't know you and you work in retail, you know, you got to keep a thick skin, and sometimes it's challenging. I'm going to be leaving my retail job as of the end of December, so I'm quite looking forward to not waiting on people anymore. But yeah, just, you know, be nice to each other. The world sucks hard enough. We don't need to start attacking each other. Quite silly. Quite silly. If you are feeling down, I would recommend the 4 Agreements. If you go on Google and look up the 4 Agreements, that document or that philosophy has helped me a lot during difficult times. So if you're having a hard time, go check that out. It really instills a bit of calmness and peace for you. So yeah. And just generally, I mean, I'm really, this year for the holidays, I'm really going to try to avoid like the department store and the mall and stuff like that. I just don't need that in my life. I actually shopped online, not for physical media, but just for some household goods and things like that last week, and they arrived in the mail a couple days later, and I thought, gosh darn, this is looking more appealing to me all the time. Anyway, all that said, be nice. Play nice, as you know, the adults would say. So without further ado, I'll get into what I listened to this past week. So if you're new to my Hangout videos, I usually do what I listened to on the hi-fi, what I watched, physical media or streaming. I talk about the new releases coming out, and then I just talk generally about life stuff. I talked more about it on the front end this week, but what I listened to on the hi-fi this week, and I'm trying, because like say for instance, I listened to Yes a lot this week, but I've mentioned them a few times in my recent Hangout videos, so I won't bore you with the details of I listened to Yes again this week, or I listened to Morgoth this week, or I listened to whatever. If I talk about it once, I try not to talk about it too much, but it's hard because sometimes you listen to the same things more than once. But anyway, I did listen to this little gem. This is John Carpenter's Lost Themes. This is volume 4, and it's called Noir. Any of you that follow my channel and have seen videos since the summer know that I picked this up in the summer, and I have a wonderful memory attached to this because I listened to this on my way home, back home from a really exceptionally mind-altering camping trip, and this was my soundtrack on the way home at dawn as the sun was coming up where I live, and it was quite magical. It's John Carpenter. He does the Halloween, and he does a lot of music for his own movies and things like that. And he does these Lost Themes albums. I used to have Volume 3, I think, on vinyl. I have since gotten rid of it, but I would like to pick up the other ones on CD if I find them. The next thing I listened to is a CD I bought years ago, and I never listened to it, and it's Nine Inch Nails' Fragile, or Fragile. This is a two CD set. I listened to both CDs yesterday. This is from 1999 from Interscope Records. I have a kind of a weird history with Nine Inch Nails. I heard Pretty Hate Machine when it came out. My friend Sasha had a 12-inch single of Head Like a Hole, and he played me that song, and I was instantly in love with that song and that band, and immediately ran out and found the cassette. And then I saw them play at the Lollapalooza tour in 91? Yeah, I think it was 91. It was like Rollins Band, Nine Inch Nails, Susie and the Banshees, Ice-T with Body Count. Did I say Rollins Band? Living Colour. Jane's Addiction was the headliner, of course, because Perry Farrell was the one that coordinated that tour, and they were the headliners for the first year. But Nine Inch Nails played, and me and my pal Marcy went, and I thought Nine Inch Nails was great. At the end of the set, I don't know if it was Trent Reznor or the guitar player that had picked up had a drink. I assume it was beer or alcohol. Walked over to the keyboard player and proceeded to pour the drink all over the keyboard, and it fizzled and popped and cracked. And then they walked off the stage, and I was like, whoa. So yeah, I still have a soft spot for Pretty Hate Machine, but I really can't. I do like the album With Teeth, which came out in 2005, which is an excellent album. Really heavy. This is kind of somewhere in the middle. It's heavy, but I guess it's Nine Inch Nails. It's got the heavy kind of hardcore synth sound, and then it's got the more like sensitive songs about, breaking up with people and hating yourself and all that stuff. But I listened to this yesterday. I can't say I was like just, totally taken with it. This is probably going to be I'm probably going to rip this to my hard drive and then trade this in for credit, because it's just not. I'm sure there's bigger Nine Inch Nails fans out there that would love to have that. Then yesterday, just briefly after that, I listened, because I had to cleanse the palate, I listened to The Weeknd, and this is his album After Hours, which came out, I want to say in 2020 or 2019. I really like The Weeknd. I only have this one and then the album that came out after it, which I forget what that one's called. But this album is really good if you like synth pop. I wouldn't say it's like retro wave, but it does have that kind of neon lights kind of vibe, if you know what I'm saying. But he's a great songwriter as far as like writing catchy choruses. I assume he writes the music to this. And I think he's just kind of an interesting person. I know there was I think I read online that there was some problematic stuff with him in the last few years, but I haven't heard anything more about that. But I do find him interesting, and I do find his pop songs are catchy as all hell. I think it's like, I was thinking about it this morning, it's like Lenny Kravitz for me in the 90s, and then Bruno Mars in like the 20, when was he around? Like 2005 to 2012, I want to say. And then The Weeknd, it's almost like, it's like this triumvirate of great pop recording artists that I don't, and the reason I say that is because I generally don't listen to top 40 radio anymore, but if I hear a really good song, I will explore. And in those instances, like, actually it was Chris Murphy from the band Sloan that turned me on to Lenny Kravitz, because he had that first album, it had like Mr. Cab Driver on it, and he played that for me and a few of my friends when we were hanging out, and I was instantly taken with it. Then years later, when I was working in a gas station convenience store, they used to play the top 40 music on the radio every day while we were working, and I used to hear Bruno Mars all the time. And there was that one song, which I'm probably going to forget the name of it. I can hear the tune in my head. I can't remember what it was called. It sounded a lot like the band The Police. If anyone out there knows, it's like a very, I don't want to say like a ska kind of sound to it, but like that early Police kind of sound. Oh, Heaven? In Heaven? Heaven or something like that? Something like that. I don't know. It was an excellent song. And then I went and did a deep dive on Bruno Mars, and I really liked his songs. And then in 2020, during the pandemic, I discovered The Weeknd, and I instantly fell in love with this album. And I had a job driving a shuttle van, as some of you, if you've been watching my channel for a few years, I used to drive a shuttle van at the university to take students to different places. And I used to listen to this on the CD player all the time. And yeah, great album. And it takes me back to those, not that those times were especially happy for me, because it was just a job, but that album was like the soundtrack to my life at that time. And speaking of soundtracks to lives past, this morning I was listening to The Cure, Disintegration from 1989. Probably I don't want to say it's the first Cure album I fell in love with, because that was probably that Standing on a Beach, whatever that greatest hits one was. But this one definitely had a deep impact on me. And I was thinking about concerts. And I got to see The Cure in 1989. And do you ever have a memory in your brain and you remember it a certain way, but then when you look up the factual evidence, it didn't actually happen when you thought it did, or kind of the way it did? I had this morning this revelation, because I always thought that I saw The Cure in Montreal at the Forum in the winter. This was the Forum de Montreal. I thought for sure that I saw The Cure in the winter when my band was on tour. But it turns out I in fact did not. In fact, the tour, or the show I saw, was August 25th of 1989. And it was at the Forum de Montreal in Montreal, Quebec. It was the Prayer Tour, the North American leg of the Cure's Prayer Tour. And I thought they played this whole album basically in sequential order. I don't know why. Is it because it opens with the opening track from this album called Plain Song? This, and it also has is, is pictures of you on here now? I thought, yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. Wait now. Okay, so they played the first 3 songs off of this album at the beginning of the set. So it was Plain Song, Pictures of You, and Close Down. But guys, this, when I was looking at this is crazy. Because I've seen some bands in recent years, and you usually now you get 1 encore if you're lucky. These guys did like 3 encores, and I did kind of remember that did trigger a memory. But yeah, they did Just Like Heaven, Fascination Street, Love Song, Charlotte Sometimes, The Walk, A Forest in Between Days, Disintegration. The first encore was Lullaby, Close to Me, Let's Go to Bed, and Why Can't I Be You. They did a second encore, which was Homesick and an untitled song. And then they came back for a third set, a third encore. And they did A Strange Day, Hot, 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 3 Imaginary Boys, Boys Don't Cry, 10:15 Saturday Night, and Killing an Arab. How monstrous. That's 28 songs. And I do remember now because when it was a concert where you were sitting on a seat on the floor level. And as soon as the band started playing, everyone stood on their seats. And I stood on one of those cheap plastic seats for like 3 hours. But my God, it was worth it. So listening to this album always takes me back to those days. So I got to contact my old buddy Colin and see, because I remember going to the show with him. Did my band go to Quebec in the summer of '89? Or were we up there to see another show and this just happened to be around that time? I don't remember at all. I know around that time I did go to see a few bands. Like I saw Skinny Puppy in 1990, Einstürzen Neubauten in 89 or 90. So I did go up there a bunch of times for concerts, but I cannot figure that one out. But anyway, it was an amazing concert. And this CD always takes me back to those times. So now, that's what was on my hi-fi, my stereo this week. What did I watch? Well, I didn't watch any discs, physical media. I only watched 2 movies, and they were both on streaming. I should take a drink. It's a break time. Take a sip. Stay hydrated or stay caffeinated, whatever you want to do. I watched 2 movies on streaming, and I got to give a shout out to my sister because she has the streaming services. I do not. So I sometimes ask her for the code to view some things on the streamings at my apartment. So the 2 movies I watched, you can probably take a wild guess. A movie that came out Friday to Netflix is Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. And I also watched the Fantastic Four First Steps on Disney. And I watched both of those movies Saturday night. These were both like very highly anticipated movies for me. And I have to say I was, I don't want to say I was disappointed, but I don't want to say I was really, really excited by either of them. I feel like I want to give both of them another chance. I want to watch both of them again at some point. My initial thoughts on Frankenstein, I thought it was a little long, although I felt like some of the fat could have been trimmed on that movie. It is Del Toro, though, and I think a lot of his movies do have a longer runtime. And I was thinking about Del Toro this morning, and I was, because I've always thought, yeah, I'm a Del Toro fan. But the more I started thinking about his movies, the more I thought, no, I like Del Toro. I cannot say with any definitive energy that any of his movies are my favorite movies of all time. A lot of his movies are films that I've really enjoyed. Devil's Backbone, Kronos, Pan's Labyrinth, Hellboy 2, Shape of Water, Frankenstein. I know I'm missing a few there. I did not like Crimson Peak, and I have never seen Nightmare Alley. I'm trying to think of any other ones I missed, but um, the ones that I've seen, I enjoyed. And I kind of almost compare it a bit to Tim Burton in the sense that, with the exception of Pee-wee's Big Adventure, I'm not sure if there's a lot of Tim Burton movies that would be on my like top 100 movies of all time. Um, I've enjoyed a lot of his movies: Edward Scissorhands, Batman. Um, I mean, I know he didn't direct Nightmare Before Christmas, but he was involved with that. Um, I've enjoyed a lot of his movies, um, but I don't know if I'd say any of his movies were on my top list of movies, with the exception of Pee-wee's Big Adventure, which really, I mean, of course, Tim Burton had a hand in directing that movie, or I mean, he did direct it, but I feel like that was a Pee Wee Herman show, really. I mean, I feel like a lot of directors would have, Pee Wee would have been in good hands with a lot of different directors. Tim Burton just happened to be the director on that film, which I think was one of his first, if not his first. Um, so with Del Toro, it's like a lot of his films I really like, but I don't know if I'd put them in my top 100 movies of all time. Pan's Labyrinth would probably be one of my favorites. Uh, Hellboy, I liked. Hellboy 2, I think he did. Um, Blade 2. Kronos was very good. One of his earlier films, but yeah, so when I watched Frankenstein, and this morning I was thinking about talking about it on my video today, I was like, yeah, it's interesting. I almost actually, after I watched Frankenstein, I watched some interviews with Guillermo del Toro, and I like him as a person, I think. And I love his appreciation of movies. And I know he's very passionate about filmmaking. And it's like I almost like Del Toro more than I like watching his movies. I'd rather hear him in an interview because I find he's very interesting. He knows a lot about film history. He's passionate about physical media. He's funny. He talks very openly about his favorite movies and his favorite directors. He's not shy away from, like, say, Tarantino will shy away from talking about newer directors because he doesn't want to have kind of a modern commentary on newer directors, but he will talk about old movies. Del Toro, he'll talk about newer movies, newer directors that he likes. So in that sense, I really respect Del Toro. And I do, like, with Shape of Water really comes to mind with the visuals. My first thought out of the gate with Frankenstein was it looks artificial to me. It looks digital. And I didn't like that. And I know he did a lot of sets and he does a lot of practical stuff, but I just felt watching it, it felt kind of artificial to me, and I don't know how to explain it, but maybe it was what the CGI in it to me, or what CGI there was, felt really corny. And I like Oscar Isaac, but I'm not sure about him in that role. I don't know if he was Del Toro said he wanted him to play this sort of like a maniac, like a somebody who was like really demented, and I just didn't get that vibe off him. I don't know if he was a good person for that role. The person who played the Frankenstein monster was quite good. His stature was really good. The makeup was pretty good. I'm assuming most of that, or all of it, was practical. But I just found it to be really artificial looking. And because of that, I found myself questioning the backgrounds, the backdrops. Is this real or is this CGI? And it really took me out of the movie a lot. That said, I thought there was some good moments in it. There was some good kind of horrific moments. There was some good, like, I felt like he could have done more with like the collecting of the body parts and the corpses and that stuff. It just didn't hit the mark for me. I respect Del Toro. I think he's a very, very clearly he's a genius, and he's very, very brilliant, and he knows his stuff. But I just was checked out, which was really sad for me because I really was quite looking forward to it. I have to say, on the flip side of that, I'm not a huge Frankenstein fanatic. I do have the original one with, the James Whale one, I believe. And I've seen that a few times. I like it, but I'm wondering now if maybe I'm just not a big Frankenstein fanatic, and maybe that's what it was. Also, this is nitpicking, but I am to the age now where I'm getting tired of remakes and redos and requels and all that crap, the sequels and the reboots and all the stuff they talk about. I am getting a little tired of it. And to me, it's like, do we need another Frankenstein movie? I don't know. I feel like nobody's really nailed it yet except for the original. The Universal one. I don't know. Has anyone else really done it justice? The story justice? Maybe there's a version out there that I haven't seen that will take the cake. But yeah. So Del Toro's Frankenstein, it was okay. I give it about a 6.5 out of 10 if I had to rank it. Not the worst thing I've seen. Not my favorite Del Toro, but if you're a Del Toro fanatic, if you're a Frankenstein fanatic, you'll probably find some stuff in there to love. But for me, fell a little short. The other movie I watched on streaming was Marvel's / Disney's Fantastic Four First Steps, which came out this past summer, which is one I wanted to see in the theater, which I'm kind of glad I missed it in the theater and just saw it on streaming. It's another one that, again, how many bloody Fantastic Four movies do we need? Controversial take. I actually like the 2000s ones with I forget their names now, but the 2005 and the 2007, the Rise of the Silver Surfer. I like those movies. I thought they were fun. For me personally, if it's a superhero movie, I want a little bit of fun. I want a little bit of comic book energy. I hate it when these superhero movies take themselves too seriously, like the Batman versus Superman and that stuff. It's just not my thing. That said, I did like the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, but Fantastic Four First Steps, I'm left, and I didn't do any research. I just thought I'd wing this, but I wonder who that movie's made for. And I'll tell you my thoughts on it. This movie was made to look like retro futuristic, like 60s style. The appliances, the cameras, the film cameras, the vehicles, the cars, the technology, it all looked like it was made in the 1960s. Which I guess is like they're calling it retro futurism. But and then in the film, not to spoil too much, but in the film, the two main characters in the Fantastic Four are having a baby. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, so if this movie is made for young people, or maybe young people are more into films that have that family dynamic in a superhero movie, but for me, I just want to see the good guys fight the bad guys. And maybe it's just me. That's just my opinion. You can have your opinion. Every a-hole has their opinion, as they say. But I thought a 12-year-old going into this movie is not going to want to watch a story about a couple having a baby and the dramatic tension between them and the tension that's created by the bad guy because the pregnancy and and that's not to be insensitive about it, but just to say that if it's a drama, I get that, but this is a superhero movie. This is 4 superheroes fighting against an evil force. And in the midst of all that, they're caught up in this kind of family drama, or this, we're going to be new parents and we're really worried, but also we have to fight this big giant bad guy. I was just left wondering, who is this movie for? Because also, if it's made for like maybe it's made for like older folks, like my age and up, like Generation X and boomers. Um, but I don't, I just don't know. I don't know. It's just a strange movie for me. I'm just not sure who the demographic was for. And maybe, here's just a theory, they got the 60s futurism in there to appeal to like my generation, Generation X and up. And then you've got the more like, I guess maybe young people want to see more of that, like a family dynamic or like different kinds of characters. And I know that a lot of these big studios are trying to appeal to different demographics, and so maybe that's where they're going. They're trying to like capture the like 20, 30-year-old market who are maybe just starting families, but then they wouldn't really probably get the retro um, mechanics of the movie, if I don't know. And also, like, I know they didn't bother with the origin story in this one. It was just like, here's the Fantastic Four and they're fighting a bad guy. But it's like, clearly this is supposed to be the beginning of the Fantastic Four, or like their early years. But for people who don't know the Fantastic Four, there's really not much of a nod to their origin story, except for that these four people went into space at some point and there was some problems and they came back with special powers. And they really boiled the exposition down to just like a few lines, and I thought that was really strange. On the flip side of that, I don't want to hear their origin story again. I've heard it, at least twice. I mean, you could even include the Roger Corman unreleased movie, all of the Fantastic Four cartoons, the comic books, graphic novels, the original movies from the 2000s, the 2014 or 15 reboot, which I actually kind of like. I know that's another hot take, but I just found the movie to be just a very strange blend of elements that didn't really, at the end of the movie, just really didn't add up for me. Now, I know it said at the end that the Fantastic Four will appear in Avengers something or other. Probably like Avengers Bloodlines or something. I don't know. I don't watch those movies, if I'm being honest. I saw the first Avengers movie in the theater. I thought it was a big, loud, digital mess that gave me a headache and made me want to leave and go watch a Noah Baumbach drama. But yeah, I just... And if you're a regular watcher on my channel, viewer, I should say, I've talked about this a lot in previous videos, but like for me, the first Iron Man, the first Ant-Man, I like the Fantastic Four ones. I like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans. I'm more into that kind of early phase. The latter ones, and I've seen a few of them. I saw the second Ant-Man. I didn't really grab me. The newer Spider-Man movies, although fun, I could tell they weren't really for my demographic. So Fantastic Four First Steps, I don't know. It wasn't bad. Visually, it was beautiful. The acting, I felt, was really shallow. I thought Pedro Pascal was really empty feeling. I didn't really feel like he had a lot of empathy with Sue Storm in the movie, his wife, and the Thing was CGI. Throughout the whole thing, you saw stills of what I guess he looked like before he became the Thing. Johnny Storm didn't have that, pardon the pun, fiery kind of disposition like he did in the 2000s movies. And I don't know, the whole thing just left me feeling very kind of empty. It was all flash and no substance. That said, I'd probably rather watch that than like one of the later Thor sequels or, you know, things like that. I don't know. I really struggled with these two movies, and I knew I was going to talk about them today, but I really struggled with like, how am I going to talk about these movies in in a diplomatic way, a democratic way, because I didn't hate them, but I didn't love them. So let me know your thoughts below on those two movies, Frankenstein from Del Toro and Fantastic Four: First Steps. Uh, I probably will revisit both of them at some point to see how I feel. After watching interviews with Del Toro and him talking about the Frankenstein movie, I feel like I want to go back and sort of revisit it and think about some of the things that he was talking about specifically about the movie, like the sets and the themes and the character development, things like that. I will say the cast was pretty good, except I thought Mia Goth was underutilized. I thought Christoph Waltz, who's, damn, he's one of my favorite actors of the last 10 years. I thought he was totally underutilized. And when I saw his face near the beginning of the movie, I thought, oh, Christoph Waltz is here. He's going to save the day. But he was only in it very briefly. And then I don't know. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on those. The only pickup I made this week was a VHS, and it was Prom Night 3, The Last Kiss. This is an ex-rental. It's a cut box for those of you out there who into the VHS lingo. So what they did was they took I hated when they did this, but they took would have been an original cardboard slip sleeve, and they cut it. They cut the extra spine off to fit it in one of these bigger cases. So it kind of ruins the case a little bit. But yeah, I found this. It says the tagline is "Love is Hell." I don't know anything about this movie. It says "Dying for a good time, call Mary Lou." So this is 30 years ago. Prom queen Mary Lou Maloney died in a fire at Hamilton High, but this hot tomato just won't stay dead. Okay. She's come back for some fun. She falls in love with a handsome hunk, Alex. And suddenly the boy is earning straight A's and scoring for the football team, as well as with the love-struck Mary Lou. But Mary Lou's magic turns to murder when anyone gets in her way. As the body count grows, Alex is no longer sure he can handle this vicious vixen. But there is no escape, as Alex learns when he dares to resist Mary Lou's hot lips. Approximate runtime, 97 minutes. This was put out by IVE Video. Yep, this is from Video Update. Rental store, I guess. Please rewind tape. Somebody clearly did not, which is disappointing. But anyway, I picked this up for a couple bucks. I'll check it out. Probably won't stay in my collection, but I've never seen it. Worth a watch. So other than that, guys, I didn't see anything else. I saw Pulp Fiction on Blu-ray. Was tempted, but I'm just not really doing any upgrading. I have a really nice deluxe edition of the DVD, and it works fine for me. So, and I haven't watched that movie in probably 5 or 10 years. So now on to, did I miss anything? Oh, and I guess I'll just skip that. I did have another listen, but it was on YouTube. Not important. So, new releases coming out this week, November 11th, which I assume is November 12th because it's Remembrance Day. Although, do they celebrate Remembrance Day in the United States, or is that Veterans Day? I know their big honoring of the vets is in May, I think. But anyway, tomorrow here in Canada, it's Remembrance Day, when we take time to remember the brave people who fought wars for our countries, and some paid with their life, and some paid with PTSD and physical ailments and disabilities, and it's a sad thing. But I think it's important to acknowledge their efforts, and to also celebrate peace efforts. And I know some people were talking to me about wearing the white poppy. I still wear the red poppy. Just, I guess I'm old school that way, but However you choose to honor the dead and the survivors is fine. And so do take a few minutes to remember them. And yeah. So tomorrow is technically new release day for physical media, but I think it's probably going to be Wednesday, it would be my guess, because the department stores will be closed tomorrow in honor of Remembrance Day. So new releases coming out this week. We have The Mask coming out on 4K from Arrow Video. That's The Mask with Jim Carrey. I'm not sure what Arrow Video is doing. They seem to be going more mainstream. So I don't know. It seems strange to me, but I know. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is coming out on 4K Steelbook and also on a regular 4K release. The Descent is coming out on in a 4K Steelbook edition. This is the 2005 film from Neil Marshall, which is, if you like horror movies and you... Do people like claustrophobic movies? Maybe you do. It's about some ladies who go cave diving and discover they're not alone, if you know what I mean. But there's a lot of crawling through very tight tunnels, and it's very, very distressing. That's coming out on 4K. Renfield is coming to 4K Steelbook. That's the vampire movie with Nicolas Cage, I think, from a couple of years ago. I did not see that. I think it's like a horror comedy. The Naked Gun 2025 with Liam Neeson is coming out. That movie also got kind of mixed reviews, I think, if I recall. I have no interest in watching that. Leslie Nielsen is my Naked Gun. The body horror film Together is coming out on 4K. I've heard mixed reviews on that movie. The trailer looked crazy when it came out in the summer. I thought, oh, this will be like the next like Longlegs or the next what's that movie with the hand statue? I thought that would be like the next like big like Companions, another one, or like Megan. I thought this would be the next one, but it didn't seem like it really got the hype after the trailer came out. There's a Luc Besson box set coming out, which covers the year 1983 to 2005. Is he the guy that did The Professional, I think? But that's a 4K box set. It's a big, meaty box set with all of his film, or a lot of his films. Another Jim Carrey release, The Grinch, is coming out to 4K Steelbook. It's the 25th anniversary of The Grinch. And I believe when I took my niece to see the Gabby movie, there was a trailer. I think they're re-releasing The Grinch to the movie theaters this Christmas. So if you like that version of the film, you can not only see it in the theater, but you can also get the 4K Steelbook. So, and I believe it does come out in a regular edition as well. Spinal Tap 2 is coming out this week on physical media. Here's another movie that I think I'm going to stream that movie, and if I like it, I'll pick it up on Blu-ray, but I haven't read any reviews of it, so I don't even know. Did that get good reviews? I'm not sure. Spinal Tap is probably one of my favorite comedies of all time, but I don't know. It's like also they released news the other day, a news release that there's going to be a Gremlins 3. And it's like, all right, like, what is that? 2000, 2010, 2020, like 35 years later, we get a sequel to Gremlins 2. Do we need it? I don't know. Is it going to be CGI Gremlins? Because if it is, I don't know. But anyway, Spinal Tap 2 is coming to physical media, so that means it'll probably be coming to streaming soon, which means I will watch it on streaming, and hopefully it comes out. Well, it'd be nice to watch it over the Christmas break, maybe. But again, I'm not shitting on them. I love This Is Spinal Tap. I love This Is Spinal Tap. I've watched that movie so many damn times, and when I saw they were making a sequel, I was kind of excited, but kind of cautiously optimistic. Freakier Friday, again, another sequel that did we need, with Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan. And I honestly, that movie, that trailer came and went. I didn't hear a damn thing about that movie. No interest in that. I have no idea what demographic that movie was made for. I have no idea. That was just a really weird one. Also coming out on physical media this week, there is a Shudder, the the streaming platform Shudder has a Shudder box set coming out on Blu-ray, which includes like 6, 7, 8 movies. Trying to get the light to come back. This includes Phil Tippett's Mad God, as well as Late Night with the Devil. I don't know a lot of the other movies on there, so I don't know if... I don't know, my camera went all dark. I'm not sure how I feel about the box set, but if you have the money and the inclination, go for it. Guys, and what is going on with the lighting here? I don't know. I'm not good with these, with the things, with the technologies. Another one, did we need this? Red Sonja, the 2025 remake. Yeah, I know a lot of you are probably thinking there was a Red Sonja remake. Yeah, I think it was like shelved for a couple of years. I saw the trailer. It looks bloody awful. So probably just avoid that one. And then the last thing on physical media, which I thought was coolish, Harley Flanagan from the band Cro-Mags, and I assume it's a documentary about him. It's called Wired for Chaos, is coming out this week. So that's all the new releases coming to physical media this week, guys. So if any of those strike your fancy, go to your local, if you have one, physical media retailer and pick up anything you might like. Let's have one more final sip before we say goodbye. I hope you enjoyed this video, the Hangout. Try to do it once a week. I don't know what's coming up on my channel. Probably do something for Christmas or something like that. But in the meantime, the Hangout videos are what I'll be doing. And yeah, so leave the comments below any of the movies I talked about or any movies you've been watching or music you've been listening to. Let me know in the comments below. Love to hear from you guys. Give me a thumbs up if you like this kind of content. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. I'm not on physical media anymore, so you cannot follow me, but you can give me a shout in the comments below, and I will definitely give you the thumbs up back or comment back to you if I can. And that's it, guys. That's it. So be sure to take care of yourselves and your friends and your family, especially in this time. The holidays or their holidays are quickly approaching. I don't tend to get wrapped up in the whole Christmas thing anymore. I do like the holidays, but for me, it's obviously not about the Christian celebration. But I do enjoy the food, and I do enjoy getting gifts and giving gifts, and I like the holidays. I like the vibe, the kind of coziness, the lights, the snacks. Like I said, snacks are a big part of it. Turkey dinner. For me, it's the hot turkey sandwich with French fries and gravy the day after Christmas. That's my thing. My family's sick to death of me talking about it, so I probably shouldn't go on about it. But yeah, looking forward to it. Looking forward to being done my retail job and hunkering down for the winter. It's going to be a financially tight kind of situation unless I find other work. So just kind of looking forward to hunkering down, trimming the fat, cutting corners where I can, and just kind of trying to, I've been writing some music recently and drawing and stuff like that, so trying to figure out where that should go as far as like out into the world now that I'm not on social media. But yeah, I'd like to make another zine. I did 2 of them several years ago, which I enjoyed that process. So I have ideas for another one, and I kind of would like to put a bit more effort into it and maybe grow it a bit and see where that can take me. Maybe it could land me some drawing freelance gigs and things like that, but we'll see. But anyway, that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much. If you've made it to the 49-minute mark, God bless you. I hope you've enjoyed hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed a delicious beverage or a snack. Buy physical media, support your local retailers, comic book shops, music shops, record stores, physical media, DVD and Blu-ray stores, especially if they're local, especially if they're Canadian, if you're in Canada. But that's it today. Thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, guys, you know the drill. I'll see you at the video store or at the thrift store or just out and about somewhere. But until next time, take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video. Whoa! Bye-bye.